domino-style board game is better than both Carcassonne and Kingdomino? We will answer that question today here on Rest and Reason. I'm RP the Red Panda, and we're looking at Hideous Abominations. Now, this copy was provided for free by the company, and I will get one eventually, but I'm not getting paid to say what I'm saying today. Now, this game is an Ameritrash board game, and the reason I say that is that it is trying to mix the three different ways that games are controlled, which, as a quick reminder, are interaction, luck, and the players themselves controlling the game. Those three are trying to be equally mixed in Ameritrash board games, and this game does excellent at that. On top of that, this game's main mechanism is the four-sided domino. Now, this shares the same kind of a mechanism as Carcassonne, which is also a four-sided domino, and Kingdomino, which is another variation on dominoes. All of these games are variations on dominoes, and if you want to know more about them, go ahead and click on the link in the description to the Carcassonne fixed video. However, all of these games do not share this game's amazing theme, and its main theme is monster building. You really feel like Dr. Frankenstein creating his monster, but this time you're doing it for an entire group of other Frankensteins, trying to get them to say yours is the best, which is a really fun and exciting and engaging theme. So, ultimately, the original scores for these three games will reveal how much I think this game is better than the others. First off, for Carcassonne, I give the game a 3.05 out of 5, which is a bronze recliner. Now, that means that it's a game I don't really recommend to most people. In fact, the main group of people I would recommend Carcassonne to are people who really enjoy a lot of expansions, and people who like the domino-style board games. Those two groups of people will really enjoy Carcassonne because it has a large number of expansions that do all sorts of things. That's why my wife really enjoys it, and we're going to be keeping it even though I don't think it's one of the best board games. Kingdomino is a 3.3 out of 5, and that gives it a silver recliner. Now, as a silver recliner, it's a game that you can't go wrong buying. You're going to enjoy it, but it's also just barely a silver recliner. It really isn't a super strong game. It's just really strong for the category, and until now, it was the one I would go to say this is the domino-style board game you should get. However, that has changed with Hideous Abominations. You see, Hideous Abominations gets a 4.6 out of 5, and that gives it a gold recliner and 1.3 more points than Kingdomino. That is a huge gap and puts this game as the second highest rating I have given on this channel ever. And you may be asking, why is this so high and why is it beating these other two? Well, it's simple. First off, Carcassonne only beats this game in innovation. Carcassonne deserves credit as being the first, or at least the first big version of this domino-style board game, where they took the ideas of dominoes and made it into an actual cool game. But in every other category, Carcassonne kind of falls flat. Kingdomino revitalized this and brought new colors and art and really cool theme and mechanics to it, but that theme was painted on. So it was mostly art theme, not mechanical theme. And the game itself was again winning in innovation as well, but it didn't beat this game in any of the other categories. This game is the better game mechanically. All of the actions seem quite balanced. In fact, most of them are the same thing. Most actions end in you drawing cards. But even the steal action, which often can be very, very bad in games and make them feel really horrible, is actually almost as positive for the person being stolen from as for the person who gets the card. And the reason for that is simple. They made this simple mechanic that when you steal from somebody else, you give them the ability to protect themselves from future stealing. And I just love how that makes the game, you almost sit there sometimes wishing somebody would steal one of your pieces so you could save your other pieces. Ultimately, this game also does way, way, way better with theme. The other two, they are supposedly building up landscapes, but that doesn't make any sense. How are you building out of nothing these landscapes? It's just nonsense. But this game it makes perfect sense. You're getting pieces from garbage piles, you're getting pieces from piles of cadavers, and you're throwing them together like Frankenstein, you're stitching them up, and you're making these hideous abominations. And the game just flows in a way that almost everything feels thematic and fun because of it. So if you're enjoying this so far, please hit that subscribe button and continue watching. Now, even though I would say this is a fantastic game, I would say there are some possible variants that I would do with this game. The first possible variant is I would take the die, and you have this action right here. It is the award action. Now, I would take this award action, and instead of you getting a draw action, which is the basic action of the game, most of the die is just draw actions. You pick up cards, and then you get to use them. Instead of getting that, you get a go mad action. And a go mad action allows you to choose whatever action you want to do, which will make this game just a little bit more choice-driven, and a little bit less of just everybody going, up, I draw again, up, I draw again, because there are so many cool and interesting actions you can do other than just drawing cards. The other variant I would put forward is a little bit more of a variant. You take the die and you throw it away. You don't use the die because ultimately the die is great for certain applications, but it is not super thematic. Why are you having to do random actions? That doesn't seem to make thematic sense. It makes more sense that you get to choose what actions you do. So you have the 4 actions in the game that you can choose from, because the 5th action on the die is just you getting to choose whatever action you want, which is what you're already doing. You can choose to draw cards, which I renamed to scouring. You see, too many games just call generic things like drawing, when they should really call it scouring, so that you get into the mindset that you're scouring through a graveyard for pieces or through the tops of the garbage piles. The next action is digging, where you get to take those garbage piles where other people threw pieces, and you get to go through and pick 2 pieces that you want from that garbage pile. The third one is stealing. You steal from somebody else, but what I love about the original game is that, and with my variant, is that when you steal, you give them bolts to save them from losing more stuff later. It makes it so that when you get stolen from, you don't feel gypped. You actually sometimes almost feel grateful that you now have your pieces safe. The final action is the award action. Now, in the original game, you would just take one of these award cards at random, you'd use that award card, and then you'd get to do another action, a draw action. This felt a little bit repetitive and also gave you no control over the awards. So I changed the award action to be called the bully action. So the idea is you've just walked up to the judges and you said, "Judges, what are you thinking about judging us on?" And so you draw 3 cards representing the 3 ideas they have of what to judge on. And then you go, "Well, I see those 3 ideas, but this one, that one seems like the right one." And they go, "Well, why should I do that?" And you say, "Well, you wouldn't want a monster to eat you, would you?" And then they say, yes, we'll do the one that you want, this one. And so you'll choose one, and the other 2 will go under the pile, which means that they're very unlikely to show up again. This means that you have a lot of choice over what's getting judged, but there's still a lot of luck. You might get 3 cards you don't like, but maybe one of those cards would be really good for your opponent, and you don't want them to have it. It adds a depth of strategy to the game. However, unlike the original game where you get to do another action of drawing afterwards, in my version, you do not draw any cards, and you do not play a monster card. This is important because all the other actions, all 3 of the other actions, you get to play a monster card, which means that you're getting more stuff to help you win the game. In this action, you don't get to play a monster card, which means, yes, you're getting to choose what makes people win the game, but you're not getting more stuff to help you win the game. So it's this constant back and forth of, do I want control over what's getting scored, or do I want control over the things that are already seen that I'm going to get scored for? It's going to be up to you and your decisions. Now, ultimately, this variant doesn't change the game that much. In fact, it's only a 4.7 out of 5. instead of a 4.6 out of 5. So it's a very small jump, and most of that comes down to theme. It's a little bit more thematic. Ultimately, I would argue that you should play the regular game, the one with the die, with children or people who enjoy luck. Those kinds of people are going to enjoy this game a lot more with the die. But with gamers and adults, I would argue that most of the time they'll enjoy having that little bit of extra choice, and they still get random cards, they still get random awards. It's still very random and haphazard and fun. It's still Ameritrash, but they just have slightly more control over their game, which makes it really fun. Now, this has been my little overview of Hideous Abominations. It is the second highest scoring game on my channel yet. It's a great game for young, old, new to board games, old to board games, for an opener. It can literally be played in a pub, I'm sure of it. It's so simple and beautiful and fun. Well, beautiful is a hideous word to use for this one. Anyway, it is such a good game. I would say any game collection would benefit from having it, and you should definitely check out this new edition, this second edition. Its art is fun, and it is a game you should own. Now, if you enjoyed this, or you didn't enjoy this, please comment and like this video so that more people can join the controversy, join the discussion. Do you think Kingdomino's the best? Do you think Carcassonne's the best? Have you played Hideous Abominations? Do you think it's the best? Does it sound really good? Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and please, if you have even $1 a month to put towards our Patreon, it will help our channel immensely. And as always, thank you so much for joining us today on Rest and Reason.